Hi everybody. This video is going to cover the subjunctive mood and why we have it and why we use it. Just to let you know that I'm in the faculty lounge and the men's club is right next door and they're kind of noisy, so if you hear anything, that's what that is. Okay, let's get started. I think it's really always important when we start a lesson like this is to start with some objectives. So at the end of this video, you should be able to do 3 things. 1. Explain what a mood is in a language. 2. Explain the difference between a mood and a tense. And number 3, explain how the indicative mood differs from the subjunctive mood. And I know this all sounds very weird. I promise everything will be explained in the video. So let's get started on the word mood. Why was I talking about the word mood? Well, in Spanish, there are 3 types of moods. We have gone over 2 in class so far. The first mood is the indicative, and the indicative mood is everything we've been covering so far in class. The imperative mood is what we call commands, and then we have the subjunctive, and that's what we're starting to get into. So you might be wondering, well, what's the difference between a mood and a tense? A tense tells when something happens. A mood depicts how the speaker feels about a situation. In the indicative and subjunctive moods, there are several tenses. So far in the indicative, we've gone over the present tense, the past tense. We'll go over the future tense later on. But we have covered these tenses in the indicative mood in the past, and now we're going to cover them in the subjunctive. Here's a better picture of what I mean. Just to reiterate that both the indicative and subjunctive moods have all types of tenses. We've gone over the present indicative, the past indicative, and later this year we'll go over the future conditional and compound tenses in the indicative. Now we're starting to get to the present subjunctive and the past subjunctive. The indicative mood is used in a language when the speaker feels sure or confident about what he or she is expressing. Here's an example in English. I know that you study each night. Because the speaker says, I know, they can use the indicative mood in the rest of the sentence. It's more obvious in Spanish because in English we don't have different endings like we do in Spanish. Here's the exact translation in Spanish. Yo sé que tú estudias cada noche. Both sé and estudias should look pretty familiar to you because these are in the indicative present tense. The subjunctive is used to express things that the speaker could be uncertain about. This includes desires, doubts, the unknown, the abstract, and emotions. Here's the similar example in the subjunctive now. I want you to study each night. In Spanish it'd be Yo quiero que tú estudies cada noche. As you can see, estudias and estudies have different endings. That's because estudies is in the subjunctive present tense. Okay, this chart is going to look at some examples that are similar side by side to give you a better idea of when we use the indicative and when we use the subjunctive. Go ahead and write some of them down, and you'll be in good shape for tomorrow. Okay, this first sentence is in the indicative present tense, and it's Alejandro vive muy cerca, which means Alex lives very close. The reason we use the indicative is because it's a fact. The speaker is sure that Alex lives very close. Something similar would be dudo que Alejandro viva cerca. You can tell that this is a different type of verb because it has a different ending than vive. This sentence means I doubt that Alex lives close. The reason we use the subjunctive here is because the speaker started their sentence with the word dudo, which means I doubt. Because the speaker doubts something, they're going to use the subjunctive in the later part of the sentence. Here's another example of the indicative present. Es cierto que Alejandro vive cerca. It is certain that Alex lives close. Again, we can use the indicative here, the indicative present, because we are sure that Alex lives close. The speaker says, it is certain. Another example of when we would use the subjunctive is es posible que Alejandro viva cerca. Again, you could tell that the speaker is unsure about what they're saying because they use the subjunctive. When the speaker starts out a sentence using es posible, he is not making a factual statement. The statement is hypothetical. It could or could not be true. That's why we have to use the subjunctive. Remember, we use the subjunctive mood when we're trying to express something we are uncertain about. Okay, let's go ahead and self-monitor your learning. I'm going to go back to the 3 objectives. I want you to take a moment and review them and make sure you can do all of them. Since you've reached the end of the video, make sure that you can explain what a mood is in a language, explain the difference between a mood and a tense, and explain how the indicative mood differs from the subjunctive mood. If you can do these 3 things, you will be in wonderful shape for tomorrow. I hope you have a great night.